Yeah, we did have some great people this morning, and I learned a lot. I do feel like I'm a novice activist. Tyler and I sort of just got involved through being in the movie and through living here in San Francisco and going to some rallies. And really that's half the battle, is just showing up. But then there are some skills you can learn. So this morning, we did learn some of those skills. We started with Molly and Davina, who you met earlier. Davina has actually written a whole book. It's called Love Warriors, The Rise of the Marriage Equality Movement and Why It Will Prevail. And it details a lot of the strategies behind the fight for marriage equality and a lot of things you can do. And so they broke it down for us on how to each individually become love warriors. And it was kind of cute at the end. They made us all stand up and raise our right hand and take the induction oath of being a love warrior. So we were all inducted. We are now love warriors. And from there, we proceeded to be educated by the organization called StoryCorps. And I have some extra pamphlets for you who weren't in our workshop. I'll put them out front. But this tells you all what StoryCorps does. It's a really cool nonprofit organization. And basically what they do is record oral history. They have people come into their booths, and they have booths in various cities. They have one here in San Francisco right now, just right around the corner at the Jewish Museum. And if you get the pamphlet, you can get all the information. But you just go in and you have a conversation with someone, and it's recorded, which gets uploaded online and also submitted to the Library of Congress, where it's permanently archived. So they're just collecting all of these stories, all of this oral history. And why this is important is because, and we started off this segment of the workshop by watching a clip from the church from their recent media campaign. That's Meet a Mormon, I think is the name of the campaign. And they have all these really snazzy commercials with progressive or interesting, diverse people talking about who they are, and then you don't hear anything about the church at all. The only thing you hear is at the very end, after they've told this very interesting story about who they are, they end with, "And I'm a Mormon." And it's like, oh, I never thought about the Mormons that way. So we talked about how effective that campaign is in confronting stereotypes and making people think about the church a little differently. And we're like, we need to use this, and we need to be telling the stories of how we are gay Mormons and how we're special and unique and diverse and interesting. And then we were taught techniques about how to ask good questions and how to talk about ourselves. And we actually broke out into pairs, and and we had time to get to know one other person in the group and practice telling our stories. So from there, we ended by hearing from two very important organizations who are on the ground working for equality right now, but two very different organizations. This is why I thought it was great we had both of them. We had the Human Rights Campaign, which is sort of the biggest nationwide organization. It does a lot of lobbying. It does a lot of media work. So we had a representative from HRC talk about what they're doing and how we can get involved. And then we had a representative of Soulforce get up and talk about what they do. And they're very different, and very focused. But they go around to campuses, encouraging, especially those colleges with who aren't welcoming of gay people, getting them to confront that gay issue and confront gay people. And they literally show up on campus and really engage that issue. And they call it the Equality Ride. And they've been to 75 universities across the country. And they aim to go to all 200 that are not accepting of gay and lesbian students. So I heard about that organization, which is very different from HRC. And there's all sorts of different kinds of organizations, but hopefully we're just trying to get people to think about all the different ways that they can get involved, all the different kind of groups that they can support. And then we finished with making some goals about how we are going to go out there and get involved. And we all had to make one goal for what we're going to do in the next 7 days. And we wrote it on a piece of paper and had to exchange it with someone else in the group who we didn't know with our email address. And they're going to follow up with us in 7 days and make sure that we've done that one thing. And then hopefully we'll go on to do many more great things. So for all of you who weren't in the group who want to do something in standing up for equality, the last thing I have is we have these little postcards, which are postcards to President Obama. And we all filled them out in our group, and I welcome you to do the same. We'll put them out front. But it just says, what's your because? And then on the back it says, "Dear President Obama, I believe in marriage equality because," and then there's a blank. So we welcome you to fill these out, say why marriage equality is important to you, and then you can leave it out front or mail it yourself, but if you leave it out there, we'll make sure it gets mailed for you. And so that can be your piece of standing up for equality today.
I just wanted to leave you with a little story. A lot of the themes today are surrounding telling your story and having courage. And standing up for marriage equality hasn't always been easy. And if I tear up, it is because I am my mother's son, so bear with me. I'm a cardiovascular thoracic nurse. I work at UCSF, and I went to work 2 years ago, and I met a woman who was waiting for a lung transplant. And she was this beautiful, beautiful patient who ended up being on my floor for 2 years. She still hasn't got her lungs. And every morning she would come in and she would ask me, "Tyler, how's your wife?" And there was a time that I said, "Fine." Did my thing, got out, and it was this fear of how can I tell this little tiny beautiful Hispanic evangelical Christian that I don't have a wife. And I kept thinking, how am I going to tell her that I don't have a wife, that I have a husband? And the days went on and the months went on, and I never got the chance to tell her because she saw me on the news. And I came to work one day, and she said, "Tyler, I know you don't have a wife." So thankfully, I was able to learn from her that it's okay to be a little scared, but turn that fear into courage and stand up for what you believe in. And now that's what we're here doing, hopefully. And that's my little story.